Let's talk a little tonight about venting your baby bottle. If you have any kind of bottle system and you don't have a vent, you're going to collapse the bottle. So if I have a water bottle, plastic water bottle with no vent, and I completely seal, watch what happens. Right? I collapse the bottle. If you have a baby sucking from a bottle system and the nipple starts collapsing, most likely there's something wrong with the vent. So we need to have venting to not create a vacuum inside the bottle, which would collapse the bottle. So let's run through some of the different bottle systems and how they vent or how they work. One of the most common, recognizable, is one that actually has an internal vent, like the Dr. Brown's. So there's a separate vent that needs to be placed. This one, again, has this like T-piece with holes in it and the vent system. This gets placed inside the bottle so that when milk goes through and there's air in the milk, it redirects the air to the back of the bottle so that it can vent the bottle. So the reason why Dr. Brown's can vent is it because the nipple doesn't have a vent in it. It has this T-piece that's in place to funnel air back into the top. So when you flip it over with milk, it funnels the air back to the top to prevent a vacuum from happening. Biggest complaint I get from this bottle system is that it can leak. There can be a lot of user error with this. I do recommend to my families using the Dr. Brown's vented system that how you use this vent can cause user error. You don't want to heat the milk with the vent in place. You also want to be really careful that if you're doing any shaking or swirling of your formula to mix it, that you also don't do it with the vent in place. The heating of liquid with the vent in can cause expansion that basically can make it leak and not work. With this system, if you have the cap screwed on too tight, it can also mess with the venting. So you want to screw all the way and then unscrew by a quarter turn to help it equalize its pressure. So Dr. Brown's is one of the more common ones to see with a vent system. There's a couple other bottles on the market that have a vent. Next, you'll have a vented nipple. Even Flow Balance, Nook, the Nano BB, the Como Tomo, the Tommy Tippy, all of these bottles have vents built into the nipple. The Pigeon, the Lancino, the Gentle Flow from Lactation Hub, the Ola Baby, they all have a vent built into the nipple. And so what that looks like is somewhere around the actual nipple itself, there's a vent. Even Flow has a very prominent vent. It's this big notch. And the vent basically opens with each suck to release pressure. If you're steam sterilizing these can get sealed shut. Really, really hot water or sterilizers can steam them shut. Every once in a while in manufacturing, you'll have where the vent doesn't actually open. So you always want to check that vent. I usually recommend do a little pinch test. So if your nipple's collapsing and you have a vented nipple system where the vent is built into the side of the nipple, always check your vent that it's open. That's really important. I do recommend when you're bottle feeding off of these to look for the orientation of the vent to how baby is drinking. When baby is sucking, we want to have that air vent so that there's no milk blocking it. That can also help it vent better. Even Flow has one vent. So does Tommy Tippy. So does the Nook. The Nook is just like this little circle here. Again, you can pinch test that before you go to feed to make sure the vent is open, that it's venting the bottle properly. Because again, any negative pressure vacuum inside can collapse that nipple and make it challenging for baby to get milk out. Como Tomo has two. The Nano BB actually has 3 vents. So when you look inside 1, 2, 3, so no matter which direction or angle you have the Nano BB, as long as those are functioning, it's going to help vent that nipple. And then the Ola has two, these little holes here. So those are vented systems. Now, if you remember the Playtex drop-in nursing systems that were popular in the 80s, you would basically take a little drop-in liner and you'd put it into the shell of your bottle and you'd put your milk inside and the bag would collapse as baby would feed. And their claim was there's no air in the bag, so you're reducing air swallowing. Similar with the Kind bottle system, where it is a bag that screws onto the nipple. There's no air in there, so the vacuum actually collapses that bag system as baby's drinking. That's also true for the Boone bottle. So if you have this one, Boone basically does not have a vented nipple. It has a silicone liner that collapses as the baby sucks. And so that vents the system because there's no air in there. You basically create a vacuum inside here, so it reduces air swallowing. So when you have the Boone and baby sucks, it should actually collapse this silicone liner. No, I don't have any liquid in there, but it theoretically, as the baby sucks, all of the air and milk will come out of that liner and the entire liner collapses as they suck, reducing air. So this one doesn't need a vent because there's no air pocket. It's supposed to collapse on itself as baby drinks. So all different kinds of systems that are in different bottles, but if you don't have some kind of system, you'll have the collapse. So there are all the different kinds of vents that are out there for your bottle. If baby is struggling with one of these systems, again, if nipple's collapsing, check the vent, make sure it's open. If that venting system isn't working for baby, you could try a different flow rate, go up in flow rate, or try a completely different bottle system with a different kind of vent. Now you know.